Alright, this guitar here was a dream guitar of mine for so many years, ever since I was 7 years old. When I saw Kirk Hammett playing a Les Paul Custom, I was like, I want that guitar. And I didn't even play guitar at that time. But I was like, I want it so bad. And my dad, you better get a job and save up some cash because they're not cheap. This is not a Les Paul Custom, but it is a Les Paul Standard 2006 in Desert Burst. And there's the truss rod cover, which I replaced that. It came with one that was blank, but it had a sticker on it that said 60 style neck. And I wanted the one that says Standard because it just looks like the Les Paul Standard, if you have that on there. And the tuners have been replaced. They're direct replacement Kluson tuners. And the neck profile is the 60s slim neck. It's a little bit sticky where I've played it on it, got my sweat all over it. And the serial number up there, you can't really see it, but the first digit and the fifth digit are your year model. So 0, and then you count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 6. So that's 2006. The weight of this, man, it's about 10 pounds. Really, really heavy, but that's just that mahogany body, mahogany neck, and maple cap on top. And you got a volume and tone right here for each pickup. I know most of you guys that play guitar, you guys know about a Les Paul. But, just pointing that out. And 3-way pickup selector. And then the pickups are the Burstbucker Pros. That's what it says on them when I took them out. I wanted to check it out. And then the hardware is aged nickel. So it kind of looks old and brushed, like it's had a lot of wear on it. I don't know if this is the original case. I bought this in 2017 from a guy that had it for sale. So I don't really know. I know most of the Gibson cases you get, the USA cases, are white interior. But it works. And it protects the guitar. It does not move whatsoever at all. So if you want to get one of these guitars, this was a Guitar Center exclusive. I don't know if they're still available new, but you can get them used on the used market. And I installed some Schaller strap locks because Les Paul's notorious for the strap coming off and hitting the floor. So I put those on there because that's not happening to this one. But that desert burst finish, man, it's just like, wow. It really pops. The flame on that top is so good. But it's old. It's got some age to it. The frets are a little bit green looking. I gotta polish them up. The inlays are a little bit kind of getting some age to them. And I've got some, I don't play it much. I've got some unlevel frets or worn frets. And there's a hump at the body joint here. And you can see it when you look down it. So it don't get too much playtime. But I do play it when I want to play in drop D. And it's got Ernie Ball 10s on it. But Gibson ships them out with 10s on all their guitars. So there's one other thing I want to go over on this guitar. And there's a lot of stuff surfacing out there that's been going on for years about fake Gibsons. And I want to show you the telltale signs of a fake. And if there's any I miss, some of you Gibson aficionados know about, throw it in the comments. Let people know so they don't get scammed out of their hard-earned money. So, the bridge, the first thing you look at, you see that little post right here? How it's rounded? That is USA Nashville. If these two posts here or slotted screwdriver like an Epiphone, that's your first sign that it's fake. This stripe right here, you can see it, will be off center from the center of the stop bar. The spacing on the volume knobs will be further apart. The horn will be kind of wonky looking. It won't be like this. It'll be wonky looking. And then, if you're really in doubt and you want to know for certain, check the truss rod in there. If it is a 4 or 5 millimeter hex key, it's fake. Gibson does not use that. They have a nut on theirs. And you will need, let me lay that down, if I can find it in here. For Gibsons, there it is right there. You will need this truss rod adjustment wrench that fits over that nut inside the truss rod cover. That is the ultimate way to tell if you have a fake or an authentic. And the serial number, you won't be able to see it on here, but it'll be like on the fakes, it'll be like engraved in it. Very pronounced. And Gibson uses a heat stamp to stamp their serial numbers in. So if it's really like, looks like it's gouged in there, it's fake. And the tuners, sometimes the back of the tuner, it will not say Gibson Deluxe. These don't, because I replaced them. But I have the originals. And some of them will say, it'll have an E right there on the back of the tuner, which means Epiphone. Take your pickups out. They'll say Epiphone too sometimes. And then there's the wiring on the inside. It will be, for real ones, it'll be this like silver braided wire. That's what they use in Gibsons. And this one has the plate for the harness, the steel plate. And I know a lot of the newer ones, they use the PVC board with the little clip-on connectors. So that's not always a good way to tell, but the truss rod nut, that's the ultimate way to tell. But what I couldn't believe when I got this guitar, the guy was asking $1,200 for it. And I was prepared to pay that money. I was like, that's great. That's a great price for one of these. And I called him up, and he was like, you want the guitar? I really have to have the $1,200. And I was like, well, look, man, I'll give you $900 cash money for it. And I can meet you somewhere if you want. And he's like, well, let me think about it, and I'll call you back. You know. And then he calls me back literally 5 to 10 minutes later. Come and get it. $900 is a fair price. And I freaked out. I was like, what? No way. There's no way. It's like I'm ripping him off, you know. But he was kind enough to take that. And it's got a bad input jack too. So I may not get to do a sound video for this, because it's just old. I just keep it as part of my collection. And it's a dream guitar of mine. Really, really love it. And there's not a lot to say about the good old Les Paul. But I think their artist roster and the icons that have played them, like Jimmy Page and Slash from Guns N' Roses, and then Dwayne Allman from the Allman Brothers, and I think Eric Clapton may have used a Les Paul at one time. That just speaks for itself. But you can get these in the 60s neck, which is this one. This is what I have. And the 50s necks, which is like the 59. The 59 Les Paul. A little bit thicker. Some of them call it the baseball bat neck. But I wanted to put this on here, man, and let you guys see what started my guitar journey. When I first saw Les Paul and seen Kirk Hammett playing his custom on Fade to Black from the live 89 Seattle DVD, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a guitar player. I want to learn. And I do have my original first guitar that I got when I was 4 years old from my uncle. who passed away in '98 to cancer. But he bought it for me for my birthday, and I've kept it all these years. I was 4 years old, and I'm 34 now. So I've had it 30 years. It's unplayable. It's old. I'll put it on YouTube too. I want to say it's a miniature Martin, but there's no labeling to corroborate that. But I wanted you guys to see this because I'm just proud to have it. And I can't believe the deal I got on it. I was going to put the Gibson locking tuners on it, but I was like, I don't want to modernize it. I want to leave it exactly as it is right now. And the old tuners, they just needed to be replaced because when you went to tune it down to like drop D or a half step, that low E string would just bottom out because the tuner had no, it was real flimsy and moved really easily. So I got those replaced, put that new truss rod cover on, and it's good. It's a great guitar. And look at that logo. You see how it's kind of dark right there at the bottom of the G? That's what happens to these when they age. That's the tooling marks. And then on the headstock right there, there's a little ding where the guy that owned it before me hit it with a microphone somehow. And the nut on this side over here. It's a little bit broken, but it doesn't affect playability. I was going to change it, but that thing is super glued in there. I mean, it's tight. And it's really hard to get that out, I think, without breaking that headstock. And you see a lot of people say, oh man, you can breathe on a Gibson and the headstock will snap. And look at how thin that is right there. That's the reason they snap off. Oh yeah, one other thing about the fakes. You see that right there to the neck? There will be a scarf joint on the fakes. If it has like a lighter painted neck or an unfinished neck, you can't see it on one like this because it's black or dark brown on here. But that's another way to tell. Gibson does not have scarf joint. And then on the back here, it's got some scratches that you can't really see unless you get it in the light real good. But this guitar has served me really well in the few years that I've owned it. And if you like a Les Paul and you like a thin neck, grab you one of these 60s necks. If you like that thicker neck, they got one out there for you too. But I don't know if you can get them new if you want one of these Guitar Center exclusives. But you can find them used if you look hard enough. But I hope you guys have a good night. And I'll get the sound videos for all these guitars done as soon as I can. And everybody keep playing. Keep doing what you do. Just get a load of that Les Paul Gibson. Man, that's just so cool. But everybody keep on playing. Learn something new every day. Have fun with it. When you sit down to practice, if it feels like work, then, walk away for a little bit. Come back to it. And if you're playing the same old licks all the time, and you can't get out of the rut you're in, listen to some different styles of music. That's what I did. I'm a metal player. I like to play metal. And I play classic rock on this. Like for Leonard Skinner, this right here is perfect for that. It sounds great. For punk music, it sounds great. And then, I started getting into country. Because I was stuck in that practicing rut or same old licks rut, chug, chug, chug all the time. I got into country, started listening to some classical shred. I could never play that way. But just watching guys that do that stuff, like Yngwie Malmsteen, it's just inspiring to watch that. But you guys keep playing, keep doing what you're doing. And if you like a Gibson Les Paul, go out and grab you one, man. And sometimes you can get lucky enough to find one for around $900. That's a standard, like this. And look on the used market. If you can't drop the cash on a standard, look for a used studio. I've seen them for $500, $550. Like, the most expensive I've ever seen a used studio go for was like $750 at a pawn shop. So they can be had, and they are great guitars. And Gibson's been in business for what? Over 100 years. So that says something about Gibson. They've been around a long time, and they keep making great guitars, even though there are little quality control issues they've been having over the years. This is an 06, and sometimes when you play the guitar and you get a little crazy with it and push the string down, sometimes it can catch underneath the frets right there. And that's a problem that some of these early or mid 2000s will have. I don't know why. But they say the best year for the studios was the 90s. So maybe I'll look for one of those next. But try to get yourself one of these if you want one. If you can find one used and it's a good price, grab it up. And you won't be disappointed. Everybody have a good night. Please like the video and subscribe if you want to. It would be appreciated. Take care.